Well, good morning, and great to have everyone here this morning, and we will call the meeting to order. We have an invocation this morning from Catherine Muthi from Disciple Nation, and following that, we will have a Pledge of Allegiance. We invite you all to join us for both of those. Is Catherine here this morning?
Let's go before the Lord, shall we? Father, in Jesus' name, we come before your throne of grace this morning with thanksgiving. Thank you for giving us life today and for your mercies were made new to each one of us this morning. Lord, we thank you for the city of Wichita, the city we call home. And God, all the good things that are happening in Wichita, we are so thankful for a governance that believes in prayers. Thank you for the mayor, the city manager, the police chief, the police officers, and every man and women who works under them, Lord. We thank you for them. We thank you for the freedom we have here to pray. I pray for today's meeting that, God, everything will go as planned and as scheduled. And I pray, God, that you would prosper the city of Wichita. Oh, Lord, your word says that righteousness exalts a nation and sin is a reproach to our people. I pray that your righteousness will exalt our city and that every person who serves in our city will be a righteous person, a man of integrity and honor and dignity. God, I pray for neighborhoods that are safe and are protected, and that, Lord, one of these days we'll read in all those newspapers that Wichita is the best place to live in. We thank you for that. We give you glory today. Start with us, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Catherine. We have the approval of the minutes of June 11th. Any changes or corrections? Seeing none, I move that we approve the June 11th, 2019 meeting minutes.
Second.
Mayor,
Councilmember Tuttle.
it says that you were absent. You were late last week, but you were here.
Oh, thank you. So we'll make sure we note the correction that I did make at least part of the meeting. We have a motion and a second. Any other corrections? Cast your vote.
Councilmember Bluebow, would you cast your vote, please?
Got to cast it a few times this morning.
Exactly. Does that mean you get to vote twice?
Absolutely.
We have a couple of proclamations this morning. Our first proclamation this morning is for Erica Higgins, Pure and Simple Truth for Youth Awareness. If Erica and her friends would like to join us. Good morning. It's good to have you this morning. Good morning. We have a proclamation from the city of Wichita, founded in 1870. Whereas in 1997, Dr. Ruth Taylor, Mary Easterday, and Louise Theis Incorporated, Abstinence Education Consultants Incorporated, and the name changed into in 2010 to Pure and Simple Health Education. Whereas the mission of Pure and Simple Health Education Incorporated is to provide primary prevention that equips and empowers youth, parents, and communities to embrace positive choices resulting in a balanced, consistent use of self-control and positive relationships. Whereas Pure and Simple's Truth for Youth Revival seeks to help youth live healthy, whole, and fulfilled lives and offers our generation's youth and families a unique approach to understanding love, life, and the gift of human sexuality with a whole person appreciation for themselves and their sexuality that goes beyond the safe sex or just don't do it approaches to sex education. Whereas Pure and Simple Health Education provides award-winning primary prevention and risk avoidance curricula for classrooms, resources for the parents and caregivers, and peer-to-peer youth programs on authentic whole person identity, health relationships, and the power of positive choice. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Jeff Longwell, Mayor of the City of Wichita, along with the Wichita City Council, do hereby proclaim June of 2019 as Pure and Simple Truth for Youth Awareness Month. And we'll offer this up to you and let you have the podium.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor Longwell, all members of the City Council. Thank you for this important proclamation. With me today, we have Pure and Simple Health Education Incorporated, our co-founder, one of our original co-founders, Lois Tice. Oh, you moved on me. We also have Executive Board of Directors members, Teresa Brown Foster, Austin Powers, and with me today, I'm so pleased to have with us members of our Truth for Youth peer mentoring team, Katie Graham, Jesse Schmeidler, Jackson Maldonado, and Teresa Stewart, also office assistant. Pure and Simple's Truth for Youth helps youth live healthy, whole, and fulfilled lives. We believe in youth. We believe in youth. We believe that all youth can and deserve to live healthy, whole, and fulfilled lives. We believe that all youth deserve and can live good, true, and beautiful lives, and that it is with the help of the positive influences of parents, teachers, youth leaders, and our community that we can grow strong youth, strong families, and strong communities. We invite all here present, all parents, guardians, teachers, and youth leaders, and our community leaders to attend the Truth for Youth Revival Conference and Luncheon on Saturday, June 29th, 9 to 1 p.m. at the Wichita State University Metroplex. Our keynote speaker, Mike Goss from Houston, Texas, will present a dynamic presentation on whole person authentic identity. Our other conference topics include addictions and risky behaviors afflicting our youth today, and how to engage with our youth. Individual tickets can be purchased on our website, pureandsimpletruthforyouth.org, for $15 each, and that includes a delicious continental breakfast and your choice of a delicious ham, turkey, veggie, or gluten-free box lunch, as well as helpful resources and materials for the community. You can also call our office at 316-688-0840 to register and for more information. Again, we invite you all to join this Truth for Youth Revival and our conference for a new generation. Thank you again, Mayor Longwell, all members of the City Council, all here present, for recognizing Pure and Simple and this important proclamation concerning our youth of our community. We look forward to seeing you all and the public for our Truth for Youth Revival on June 29th, 9 to 1 p.m. at the Wichita State University Metroplex. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we have someone. Would you come and get our picture? Let me get you.
Here, we can get it.
Lois, could you get on this side? Hey, God, he's way out there. Would it be nice, Jeff? Because we want to put it on our website.
Sure.
Bill.
Your cameraman's not ready.
Yeah, we might have to, yeah. Because we want to put it on the website because it's so important.
Do we have a camera? All right, here we go. Here we go. We're gonna have to break for lunch. Our next proclamation is for Mentoring a Girl in Construction Week. So if we can have Giselle Thomas, Camille Alexander, and anyone else that would like to come down. I know I saw some folks in the construction industry. If they'd like to join us, they're welcome to. Looks like we have several extra proclamations to hand out. Good morning. So we have a proclamation from the City of Wichita, whereas women have contributed to the construction industry and continue to make strides from tradeswomen to engineers, architects to accountants, project superintendents, supervisors, and business owners to clerical support. Whereas Mentoring a Girl in Construction program known as Magic Camp helps promote commitment to increasing number of women choosing careers in the construction industry. Whereas young ladies ages 14 to 18 will explore and develop basic skills in the area of carpentry, aviation, transportation, and other various trade skills. And they learn there is room in the construction industry for their dreams too. And whereas a supportive atmosphere has been provided by the Kansas Department of Transportation, City of Wichita Office of Community Services, National Association of Women in Construction, WSU Tech, and local construction companies to expose young ladies to hands-on projects, field trips, and presentations. And whereas Magic Camp is focused on developing greater self-confidence and better self-esteem for young ladies who tackle challenging projects and successfully complete them. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Jeff Longwell, Mayor of the City of Wichita, along with the Wichita City Council, do hereby proclaim June 17th through 21st, 2019 as Magic Camp Week, Mentoring a Girl in Construction Week, and call upon citizens, parents, and the public, private agencies, businesses, schools, colleges in the city to join the Magic Camp coordinators in supporting the efforts that increase public awareness of education and careers available to young ladies and women in the construction business. And I have extra proclamations and turn the podium over to you.
Thank you.
Well, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. My name is Doria Watson. I work with the Kansas Department of Transportation. We're so excited and so honored to be able to host this event annually. We look forward to having a camp that we can begin to expose these young girls to dreams and aspirations. As youth, sometimes we don't always know what we don't know, and knowledge is power, and we want them to aspire to be more than what they've been exposed to. I particularly look for kids that sometimes that are disadvantaged or that may have fallen through the cracks so that they can become assets to our community. They can get additional skills and understand there's opportunities for them as women. So it's an honor to be able to do this, and it couldn't happen without various partners. We have a vast array of partners here in Wichita. Ms. Camille Alexander that works for the City of Wichita is phenomenal in helping us with these contacts and getting all this done. We have NAWIC here, and we also have WSU Tech that helps us with the hosting, and we have a vast amount of contractors that all step forward to make a difference in these kids' lives. So on today, I honor them. I tell them that the sky is the limit. Think big. If you can get it real quick, then you're not thinking big enough. I want them to dream and dream big. And so I thank you for taking this time to honor them and to recognize them this day. And on the back of the shirts, we have all of the different partners because, again, it takes a village to raise a community, and that's real. And then we want them to give back to this very community. Thank you so much.
Come on up.
Come on, Jamie, take the picture.
This construction school, not photography school.
We all say at the same time, I love the mayor, okay?
Does that include us?
Thank you so much.
Great job. Congratulations.
Outstanding. We need smart people in the construction industry. That'll help our construction IQ right there. So next, we have an award for the Wichita Parks Foundation, a check presentation for the reimbursement for plates for parks. Since Councilmember Fry kind of spearheaded this, we'd like to have him come down and the parks folks that are here. We'll turn it over to all of you. Troy?
Well, first, I just wanted to say thank you very much to the Wichita Parks Foundation. I'm going to let them explain everything that happened with the Plates for Parks. It's been a great program. So, Brent, I'm going to ask him to come up here and share the good news.
Well, thank you, Troy. It is a great day for the city of Wichita and for the Wichita Parks Foundation. The path to today started back in 2017 when Councilman Fry, along with Becky Fields and Laura Rainwater, who joins us today, came to us with an idea of taking advantage of the growing swelling of civic pride and the popularity of the Wichita flag. And that was when the idea of the Wichita flag license plate was born. So, it's been about an 18 to 20 month process of a lot of hard work, a lot of support by the city, by council, and the park department, for which, today wouldn't be possible. So with the support of all of those folks, as well as our legislative delegation at the State House, they were able to help shepherd this bill through the state. And last April, we had our signing here in Wichita. Once our program rolled out in January, that allowed you to be able to go to the tag office, and when you renew your tag, you were able to get a Wichita flag license plate. Along with that, you have a $50 royalty fee, which goes directly to the Parks Foundation, which allows us to support park projects in the park system. Since January 1, we know just driving around, you see more of these plates. We're up into the 600s. With that, that's allowed us today to present the first $20,000 disbursement to the Parks and Recreation Department. They helped with some of the startup costs to get this program off the ground, and it's going to allow them to do great things in the park system. So what I want to do is present the ceremonial check, and that'll be followed by a very real actual check to the Parks Department here shortly. But this is the first $20,000 disbursement from the Plates for Parks program. We're grateful for the support from the city, from staff, and on behalf of the Wichita Parks Foundation, our board of directors. Thank you.
I renewed my card tags this week, and my Plates for Park number is 707. Yeah. So it's growing. That's all right. We can fly higher with the 707. Madam Clerk, you want to call the next item, please?
R.J. Dickens, Bullying Tactics by City Prosecutors.
Mayor Longwell, members of the council, city staff, ladies and gentlemen. For the record, R.J. Dickens, 222 East Elm Street. On November 28th, I was pulled over at the intersection of Central and Washington for the heinous crime of honking my horn after the light had turned green for some time. The officer at that point was a little brusque with me, but I'll address that later. I did go to City Hall, found out the fine for this was $100, no less, and I reluctantly agreed, not knowing what else to do, to sign a payment agreement. I'll address that later, too. In the meantime, I was furloughed from my job. The company has since left Wichita for lack of work. I also had a second job. My start date was postponed from December 28th to January 28th. So suddenly, I was $1,000 behind in my rent. It was December. The only thing that went through my mind, rightly or wrongly, was trying to not be homeless in the middle of winter. But I did email my concerns to each of you and to Chief Ramsey. And I thank Councilman Johnson and Councilmember Claycomb, my council member, for your concern in this matter. I also got a very nice email from Chief Ramsey. And on February 8th, I met with Sergeant Kroc, Lieutenant Allen, the commanding officer of the officer, and Officer Kaiser, who had written the ticket. At that point, Officer Kaiser had said he had a bad day and apologized for his actions. I was also told several times that day by Deputy Chief Livingston and by Chief Ramsey that they were going to make every effort to drop the charges because they felt that the action was unwarranted. So a date for court was set, and I went there. Officer Kaiser, as promised, was there to try to help me get the charges dropped. I don't know if he was able to say anything to the prosecutor. The only thing I know is I wasn't allowed to get a word in edgewise. She wouldn't let me ask any questions. And the only word that I can use to describe that behavior is bullying. Pure and simple. We have a police department that is working very, very hard to become a full partner with this community in fighting crime. But we have a city attorney's office that hasn't evolved. So I was told by the prosecutor that day that I could have the fine reduced to zero, but I would still have to plead guilty and pay court costs. I was confused because I was told that the police were going to be there that day to drop the charges, but I wasn't allowed to ask any questions. So the only option that I was told that I had was to set up for trial. Not knowing what else to do, that's what I did. And we went on. I had to spend $200 that I didn't have to hire an attorney. And we also found that there was my attorney found that there was no room for compromise with the prosecutors either. Let's look at the arguments that the prosecutor gave him for not compromising. Number one, they said I'd abandoned a pay agreement. Well, again, I'm one of the 40% of Americans that's just one paycheck away from being homeless. That's according to Forbes magazine. So you can imagine my state of mind. Then they said that...
RJ, you've got about 20 seconds.
Okay,
to try and
well,
wrap it up.
I will extend my remarks then through an email to all of you. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next speaker.
Shirley Starr, Century 2, and the Big Ditch.
I don't know that Shirley Starr is here again this week. Is Shirley, what's that? Okay. Madam Clerk, next item.
Consent agenda items 1 through 15.
Are there any items that need to be pulled for clarification or discussion? Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to pull item 13.
Okay. Councilmember Johnson?
The Vice Mayor asked for the item I was.
Okay. So we have item 13 that we'll pull for discussion. Then I would move that we approve consent agenda items 1 through 15 with the exception of item 13.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Item 13.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to go ahead and ask staff to explain the grant process to us, and then tell us specifically, does that nail down an exact location or an exact design?
Yeah, I think there's some confusion with that.
Morning, Mayor, City Council members. The question with regards to location, no, that does not nail it down. The size of the plot of land will determine, and the ultimate decision of the community and whether the grant is even awarded in the first place. This is just the first step of quite a few steps, fortunately or unfortunately. But no, this does not nail down the location. It only nails down with regards to the footprint or the square footage that would be needed. But that could be shifted to any number of locations that would be possible as an option. But no, this does not nail down anything as far as where in the plot it could sit.
Can you elaborate a little bit about the grant process?
Certainly. For about the last 4 or 5 years, the FTA has had yearly releases of fairly significantly large sums of money for bus facilities and for bus purchases. We've been fortunate. We've received a number of low emission and no emission grant money for buses, so we are doing quite well with regards to our bus purchasing plan. But we do have some aging facilities and some aging processes that no longer fit well with transportation as a multimodal option. So we felt with this yearly release of, I think, $423 million, which sounds like a lot of money, but when you're considering 50 states and you're considering a lot of capital projects that are available, and there is, I think, a 9 or 10 year backlog in these projects, let alone the fact that everyone's looking to see these types of things being advanced in the community. We felt that this was a good opportunity to start the process this time. If we're not successful this time, the next time there could be larger releases. But I think any functioning transportation multimodal type scenario should be taking advantage of any grant opportunities. We're not obligated. This is an opportunity, an exercise for us to start to look at options and things that could change, that could help make Wichita better. And that's really how this all started from that standpoint, and that's our goal in this process.
So when is the next deadline if we don't get it this time?
It fluctuates, but every year it's been about this time, June and July. But there's no obligation of federal funds to do this every year. And again, next year it could be twice that amount, it could be half that amount. It's really very, very discretionary, and it is completely 100% discretionary. So it changes every year.
When do you anticipate we'd hear something?
Probably by August. There could be some clarification questions that would possibly come up in the grant, but we would probably hear something by August.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Director Tams, just one clarifying question. We've seen some criticism online that we're not investing in improving transit. Would you say this would improve our transit system?
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Okay. That was all.
We sometimes get criticized.
Every now and then.
Haven't noticed. All right, anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Helps clear up some confusion out there, and we hope that we're very successful in this. So do you want to make that motion?
Sure. I'd like to go ahead and make the motion to add item 13 to the consent agenda.
Okay,
Is that
and
the
a
correct
second? Yeah, we can approve item 13 is fine.
Okay.
And a second, and we hope that you're very successful. So we have a motion and a second. Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Madam Clerk, next item.
Report of Board of Bids and Contracts dated June 17th, 2019.
Morning, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Hannah Lane, Department of Finance. Today I present to you the June 17th Board of Bids formal bid report. First engineering bid we have is 2019 OP3 Joint and Crack Seal Phase 3. Recommended award is South Central Ceiling for $234,000. Paving for 33rd Street to serve Rocky Ford, 2nd edition. Recommendation is Pearson Construction for $172,216.80. Sanitary sewer improvements to serve East Kellogg Acres. Recommendation is Dutton Construction and Plumbing for $156,266. Stormwater drain number 445 to serve Cedar Creek Addition Phase 1. Recommendation is Dueling Construction for $514,532.50. Mount Vernon and Hillside intersection. Recommendation is defer to June 24th Board of Bids meeting. Trash containers and collection services. Recommendation is to defer to June 24th. Exterior paint is deferred to June 24th. 60,000 GVWR dual axle vacuum excavator. Recommendation is Mayor Equipment and Supply. Base bid of $373,841.30. Option 1, a deduct of $85,000, and option 2 of $1,500. Audiovisual equipment and install for City Hall conference rooms. Recommendation is Conference Technologies Incorporated for $127,345.34. Mobile radios. Recommendation is Motorola Solutions for $67,644. That's all the bids. With that, I stand for any questions.
Any questions on the awards? Seeing none, I move that we approve the award of bids.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Madam Clerk, next item.
Ordinances amending chapters 9 and 11 pertaining to operation of electric assisted scooters.
Good morning again, Mayor, City Council members. Mike Tan, Director of Transit. There's been two changes since last week's discussions about the first reading for the ordinances due to some public comment and also some internal discussions that we've had. The two changes are that all provisions addressing the motorized skateboards have been removed from the proposed amendment to allow staff time to consult with the appropriate stakeholders. And those discussions have started already, and they've been very positive. The second change has been provisions relating to the electric assisted scooters are limited to scooters deployed by the dockless electric assisted shared systems that choose to participate in the pilot program. We will also be conducting as a staff private meetings with owners of assisted electric scooters so that we can address their concerns and also start an open door question and answer with regards to what their long-term concerns are and also of the community as well. So we want to make sure that the understanding is that the pilot agreement has to do with any agreement we would enter with a private electric scooter company, and the other issues with regards to those stakeholders, we will continue ongoing and in-depth discussions to make sure that they are part of the process moving forward. So our recommendation is to authorize a second reading of the ordinance and to authorize all necessary signatures. And with that, it's time for questions.
Any questions? Councilmember Clendenin?
Mr. Tan, thank you so much. And our law department, thank you very much for the work you've done to do this ordinance. I've gotten several emails thanking you guys and thanking us for listening, and a couple from other states, which is interesting. So thank you. I appreciate it. And hopefully, as we move forward, we can look at safety for personally owned scooters as well. But thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So if there's no other questions, we'll go out to the public. Anyone like to address the council on this agenda item? Seeing none, we'll bring discussion back to the bench. And again, I think this does at least address those individuals that shared their concerns, but I agree with Councilmember Clendenin. We've got to also address the safety concerns out there in the community. If folks are riding their personal scooters at night in the dark, as they mentioned to us, they sometimes have to do because of their work hours or whatever, and they're doing it without any reflectors or lights or any type of safety equipment on there, then we're just asking for someone to get hurt. And so we've got to figure out how to address that safety concern at some point in time. So we'll direct staff to try and develop something for the personal scooters. But if there's no other discussion, I would take the staff recommended action for this agenda item.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Ordinance amendments to Title IV of the Code of the City of Wichita pertaining to regulation of cereal malt beverages, allowing sale of beer containing not more than 6% alcohol by volume pursuant to a special event retailer's permit and consumption thereof on public streets closed for a licensed community event.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, council members. Beth Harlensky from the Law Department. Before you is a proposed ordinance amendment to Title IV of the City Code, specifically Chapter 4.12 of the code dealing with cereal malt beverages. By way of just a brief background, it arises from those changes that were made by the state legislature in 2017 that became effective in April of 2019, and those amendments allowed cereal malt beverage retailers to sell beer that to also sell beer that contains no more than 6% alcohol by volume, or what we're referring to as 6% beer. And the council adopted amendments to the city code back in March that allowed the implementation of those state changes within the city of Wichita. However, it became apparent that the new state law was somewhat confusing regarding its application to the Special Event Retailer's Permit, or SERP, which is issued locally only and does not involve the state licensing division. And it allows the sale and consumption of CMB on unlicensed premises and at community events. And even if the intent of the legislature was to apply the change to the Special Event Retailer's Permit and allow the sale of 6% beer pursuant to a local-only license, it had to be accomplished by a statutory amendment, since 6% beer is alcoholic liquor by definition, and the 2017 legislation contained no such amendment. And the difficulty presented by this particular situation is that there's several events statewide and some here in the city of Wichita that have traditionally offered only cereal malt beverage to event patrons. And with the change in state law moving to 6% beer, CMB is not readily available for purchase from beer distributors. The promoters of these events wanted to continue to limit events to beer or malt beverages, did not want to expand their offerings to all types of liquor, and without an amendment to the state statutes and with the limited availability of CMB, the promoters were left with the choice of either selling no alcoholic beverages or obtaining the state temporary permit license that would enable them to sell the 6% beer. Obtaining the state license was an added expense, or would be an added expense, because promoters would pay for both the state license and a local license. And there's added time to an effort to obtain 2 licenses, as well as that extra layer of regulation. So the legislature acted to address this issue by passing Senate Bill number 70. That became effective on May 2nd, and this bill provides that local governments can approve the sale and consumption of of 6% beer pursuant to the locally issued special event retailer's permit in the same manner that we now approve the sale and consumption of CMB. And the proposed amendment before you encompasses that provision of Senate Bill 70, and the impact of this amendment will authorize the sale of 6% beer pursuant to our locally issued special event retailer's permit on unlicensed premises, at community events that are open to the public. Such events can include public streets, sidewalks, alleys, if they're close to vehicular traffic, and the event complies with our community event ordinance dealing with events where any kind of alcoholic beverage is sold. And no state-issued temporary permit will be required for a promoter who wants to sell only 6% beer. And if this proposed amendment is adopted, our ordinance will mirror state statute, which is always nice and less confusing to the citizens. And the sale and consumption of 6% beer at community events will occur under the same local permit that we now have for the sale of cereal malt beverage. Have any questions?
Any questions? Seeing none, we'll go out to the public. Anyone like to address the council on this agenda item? No one. We'll bring discussion back to the bench. Any other discussion? So, no other discussion. I would move that we take staff recommended action.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Madam Clerk, next item.
Design Build Amendment Number 4 for entertainment venue and multi-sport stadium.
Mayor, council members, good morning. I'm Kevin Green with International Facilities Group, and we're your owner's representative for the ballpark. We are here today to walk you through the 4th GMP amendment for the design build contract for the entertainment venue and multi-sport stadium. And if I can work this, there we go. Quickly, this is a view from the site from last Wednesday. We show you this because we can now see the geometry of the ballpark coming out of the pile of dirt that's been out there for the last couple of months. You can see the seating bowl as well as the outline of the field. Since that time, if anybody's driven past, you might see a little bit more vertical activity. Steel was delivered, our first delivery of steel occurred Wednesday morning last week, and I'm pretty sure most of it's up already. Yep. Sorry about that. Ma'am, what am I doing wrong? I think I did that one. Quickly, the contracts to date, of course, you have the design build contract, you have the IFG contract, and we've had three GMP amendments so far. We're here today to advance the 4th amendment. Quick recap of the previous GMP amendments. The first one in February was basically those trades requiring a shovel in the ground for utilities, foundations, and mass excavation. The second one was basically for the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, as well as the skeleton of the complex, the steel, the concrete. And you can see now the concrete's being poured for the bowl, and the steel's going up. Item 3 was our GMP price amendment number 3 was basically for the skin that was going on the skeleton, the masonry, the roofing, the fascia panels. Right now, a quick update on the design. On 5/21, we received what's called 80% construction drawings. We're getting close to getting done with the design. These drawings represented a lot of the interior areas to incorporate the needs and the functions of the clubhouse, the concessions. The concessions design has now been complete and is being incorporated. The technology systems, as well as the exterior and interior finishes. Today, for the guaranteed price, maximum price GMP number 4, design builder has bid and vetted the following trades, which would be the remaining concrete, the carpentry, the sealants, painting, floors, seating, and overhead doors. This shows the first column shows the anticipated contract costs for these trades, along against the estimated costs that were contained in the GMP. Overall, the design builder has done an excellent job of buying the project out. The total trade partners value of this is about $7.7 million. There are some allowances that we're going to carry, that we're suggesting to carry in this amendment, mainly it's seating. The final seating selection is an ongoing process, which there's a bunch of meetings today. I would expect final seats within the next 5 to 7 days to be selected. Total GMP total amount for GMP4 as shown is $9,870,705. This is a total of what's been approved, assuming bid package 4 is approved, and we're currently at just under $60 million, which is about 86% of the total GMP. We fully recommend that the City Council approve this amendment. Should you have any questions, we're here to answer them. And I do personally appreciate the time, effort, and interest that the council's put in this project.
Questions? I know we're pretty comfortable with the acronym GMP, but could you explain to the public what that means?
I apologize. GMP is guaranteed maximum price. In this particular type of contract, we establish the maximum exposure that the owner will be exposed to.
And so we're at 80% of the design and the guaranteed maximum price, and still about $800,000 under budget.
That's what we're currently showing today.
Okay. Thank you. We'll go out to the public. Anyone like to address the council on this agenda item? Seeing none, we'll bring discussion back to the bench.
Mayor, I'd like to go ahead and make the motion to approve the design build amendment number 4.
And second, unless Councilmember Playcomb wants to third it. We have a motion and a second. It's still great news. They're on schedule, under budget. I don't know what more we could ask for. Great design build team. We certainly appreciate that. Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Petition for improvements to serve Rainbow Lakes Estates Edition.
Good morning, Mayor and council members. Gary Jansen, Public Works Engineering. The first item I have for you this morning is a proposed petition for improvements to serve Rainbow Lakes Edition. This is in District 5, just south of Central, east of 135th Street West, the red loop that you see there. Wheatland Avenue itself, the street that red horseshoe connects to, is currently being paved right now. The project is almost complete. It was done by a previous petition that had been approved by the council. Looking at the improvement district and area signed, on this map you can see the improvement district boundary is shown with a red dashed line. As always, this is established by state statute, and this petition is valid by the same statute. The signatures on the petition represent almost 55% of the resident owners and 61% of the improvement district. Either of those is required to be over 50% to provide a valid petition. On June 3rd, the District 5 Advisory Board sponsored a neighborhood hearing on the project. There was not a quorum present, but the board members present did support the project. This just shows an unpaved portion of Wheatland, fairly typical of an area that had previously been in the county, and when homes were built, there were no requirements for paving. This area's been annexed for some time. There's been quite a few petitions over the years that were not successful. Our project would bring the street to urban standards, remove the ditches, replace those with underground drainage. This just shows the paving of Wheatland itself and where the street would connect into the same. The petition total for paving improvements is $430,000, with 100% of that being special assessment, and the cost will be assessed to each property on a fractional basis. Staff recommends that council approve the petition, the budget, adopt the resolution, authorize the necessary signatures, and I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Questions? See none, we'll go out to the public. Anyone like to address the council on this agenda item? See none, we'll bring discussion back to the bench. Turn it over to Councilmember Brian Fry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make the motion that we approve the petition and the budget, adopt the resolution, and authorize the necessary signatures.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes 6-0. Madam Clerk, next item.
Petition for sanitary sewer improvements to serve Lynch Edition to Travel Air City.
Mayor and council members, again, Gary Jansen. The second item I have for you is a petition for proposed sanitary sewer improvements to serve Lynch Edition to Travel Air City. This is in District 2. It's a little hard to see from this map, but this is north of Central and east of Webb Road. Also in an area that had previously been in the county, not required to have utility extensions with development, and now there are 5 lots that are seeking to have sewer extended. The red line again here shows the improvement district boundary as established by state statute. The sewer extension would serve 5 properties. Those shown in green did sign for the petition, which represents 60% of the resident owners and 59% of the improvement district, again making this a valid petition. On June 10th, the District 2 Advisory Board voted unanimously to approve the project. The petition total, the estimated cost is $50,000, again 100% special assessment. The cost would be assessed fractionally, $10,000 per lot. Staff recommends that the council approve the petition and the budget, adopt the resolution, and authorize the necessary signatures. I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Any questions on this one? Seeing none, we'll go out to the public. Anyone like to address the council on this agenda item? Seeing none, we'll bring discussion back to the bench. Turn it over to Councilmember Tuttle.
I just want to thank Gary Jansen for coming to a very long district advisory board meeting and providing one of the best Sewer 101 presentations to our district advisory board. And I would like to move that the city council approve the petition and the budget, adopt the resolution, and authorize the necessary signatures.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes 6-0. Did we miss a vote? We got it. All right, Madam Clerk, next item.
LW Clapp Park Master Plan and Golf Course Closure.
Good morning, Mayor, Council. Troy Hauptman, Director of Parks and Recreation with the City of Wichita. The item I have for you today is in regards to a master plan for the transformation of the park at LW Clapp and closure of the golf course. In 2018, a 5-course golf system was identified as unsustainable. One of the major facts in regards to this is that about 15 years ago, it hit its peak in regards to rounds, close to 210,000 rounds per year. And that was with just 4 golf courses. And just in 2018, we were down to 135,000 rounds with 5 golf courses. So we've identified that there is a trend that golf is on the decline. We have a lot of expenses in regards to these golf courses, also a lot of capital needs. So it was recommended that we would close the golf course due to the economic performance. It had the least economic performance of all the 5 golf courses and had the most needs in regards to capital needs. So the City Council voted to temporarily keep the golf course open and allowed for community engagement, which we went through a large and long process, which I'll describe in a minute. The ideas in regards to closing the golf course was supported by the Golf Advisory Committee as well as the Park Board. So there was support and communication with those folks as well. So we hired a WSU Public Policy and Management Center to conduct the engagement, and it actually started in November with setting up a game plan and a process for the next few months. The idea was to have listening sessions with the community, focus on what those ideas were, and to share those ideas. And so we went through 3 different phases, but we actually did a pre-phase with that and actually worked with the committee in regards to sharing with them what are some of the trends across the country, what are some ideas that we could do with this park, what are some of the new and innovative ideas that we're looking at in regards to park operations and park maintenance and park services as well. So Councilmember Clendenin appointed an 11-member transformation committee to develop the recommendations for the future use of this park. It was all stakeholders from that neighborhood, from the surrounding areas, homeowners association folks, and a few other stakeholders that were very involved from the beginning. So the outreach from the Public Policy and Management Center focused on neighborhoods. We also worked with the Golf Advisory Committee, the Park Board, some of the golf users, but primarily the main focus was the folks around the neighborhood. They would be impacted the most. They had the most at stake in regards to that property, and they were involved with a lot of different meetings, homeowners association meetings, a couple of other open house meetings where we shared a lot of different ideas and listened to what they really wanted to hear, what they wanted to say. We really sat down and listened to that. The community feedback was supportive of the development of the park and amenities and programs. And so if it's not going to be a golf course, there was a lot of feedback saying that they really wanted to see this as green space. They really wanted to see it as an active park. And that was what the committee heard. The Transformation Committee worked with the District Advisory Board as well. They had meetings with the Planning Commission, several meetings with the Park Board as well. So we did listening sessions with them as well as reporting sessions with them as well. The Transformation Committee, with the work from LaShonda, came up with this vision statement. LW Clapp Park will become a vibrant community asset and a destination offering unique settings and opportunities for both community residents and visitors. This was really kind of important to really set down what could happen in this park, what was wanted to see, what the future of this park would be developed into. So there was 3 maps or 3 ideas that came with these concepts, and I'll go through these really quickly. But the interesting thing about this is the 11-member committee was separated into 3 different groups, and each one of them independently came up with these concepts. And so they sat down independently and came up with different ideas of what the park could look like. But what was really great and interesting was that all their ideas and concepts were extremely similar, maybe a little bit different in regards to where it's placed in the park. They were very detailed. They're asking in regards to where the utilities are, how does the water flow through the stream, how could that be captured. They asked a lot of technical questions when they put this together. But basically what they really saw was opportunities for this park would include entertainment venues or kind of event centers, opportunities for dog parks, lots and lots of trails, lots of open space, opportunities for other sports enhancements in there, whether it's a pickleball or tennis courts, maybe a splash pad in here as well. To get access into the middle of the park, there was discussion of an entry road that would put people into the park so they'd have opportunities to actually get into the middle of the park. So very similar ideas in all 3 of these concepts. And I think I shared these with you guys at the workshop. So in general, the things that they looked at and listened to and wanted to put into the plan was affordable activities, amusements such as trampoline parks or other kind of activities in regards to some different type of sporting activities in the park, educational and community center, climbing boulders or climbing wall. Dog park area was very popular. Garden use was also very popular. Paths and trails, especially for bicycles. Water features, which would include swimming pool or possibly more so of a splash pad. Partnering with the library and having an opportunity for the library presence in this park, which also would support the educational opportunities in the park as well. Something a little bit different, zip lining, but in general, making this a gathering place for the neighborhood and a desire of some form of golf to remain. The program ideas that came out from this process was adult fitness, but youth fitness as well. Again, educational programming, some type of entertainment where possibly it would be Final Fridays or certain kind of concerts or activities that would happen on the weekends in the summertime. Art in the park with some kind of galleries showcasing local artists, themed gardens, paint and sip, so you can have some art going on while you're painting and enjoy some wine. Seasonal activities, which would include holiday and cultural activities. Things in the wintertime that we talked about might be if we were able to get a sledding hill, we'd actually be able to make some snow with a public-private partnership. Again, Final Fridays and festivals. Development ideas. In general, one of the things that they really came back from listening was that development that was not wanted was residential or really, really heavy commercial in this park. So that was one of the things that you're not going to see in here. but instead you're going to see ideas in regards to public-private partnerships that could be incorporated in the park, which would be an amusement park or an aquarium, small restaurant, food trucks, or some temporary vending venues, which could be a weekend opportunities for folks to come in and sell their wares, public spaces and rental facilities, so that we can have proms or other kind of special gatherings in this park, shops or swap meet, farmers market, very low impact commercial. Again, nothing that's going to be really large brick and mortar. Quality food or low impact shopping options. So again, the food trucks would be a great opportunity here, as well as a farmer's market. So some of the financial considerations that came to this decision was that the golf course is only operating at 45% of its capacity. And we've been experiencing operational losses close to $900,000 over the past 7 years. The capital investments to really make this a marquee golf course and really kind of meet the needs of the community would be adding $8 million into the facility over the next 10 years. We have the same kind of issue at all of the golf courses. We're needing to put in capital dollars into all the golf courses, and so the idea of consolidating from 5 golf courses to 4 golf courses kind of makes really good business sense. We can actually put those capital dollars into the other golf courses, condense the staff, reduce our overhead, and really kind of make quality golf at the rest of the 4 golf courses. So the recommendation from staff is to develop a CIP budget for master plan utilizing the 3 established development scenarios to transform LW Clapp Park, and I think these would be the foundation for more discussion, more opportunities for folks to have input, but working with a master plan, working with a consultant to help us make that happen, and then to close LW Golf Course on August 2nd. We've already looked at what that would look like, changing the operations to the parks. They're prepared for this. We would also do some celebrations the last 2 weeks of the golf course, having some free golf, doing some tournaments, really honoring the golf course and getting things ready for this transition. I stand for any questions.
Questions? Seeing none, we'll go out to the public. Anyone like to address the council on this agenda item?
Good morning. My name's Candia Smith. Live at 3427 Elmwood in District 3, not far from Clapp Park. For 30 years, lived there. I'm here before you today to give my observation on what's a very touchy subject in the city. Why do you think there is so much opposition to the closing or sale of any of our east side golf courses? What is the mission of a municipality but to serve the entire city, not just the west side? There is discrimination within the system, and I don't think it is just a budget issue, but an unfair, biased plan which has been in place for many years now. Do I sound like a conspiracy theorist? Well, how do you explain this whole master plan process? Let me take you back to last July. We're in a neighborhood meeting of nearly 100 citizens outside of Clapp Clubhouse, where the mayor, Councilman Clendenin, city manager, director of parks, golf division manager were all present. Very interested parties indeed. The mayor, Mr. Clendenin, and Mr. Layton all said that there was a chance some form of golf could remain at Clapp if that's what the master plan included. So I witnessed the master plan process firsthand. I was not put on the committee, but I attended every neighborhood input meeting, the DAB meetings, the planning commission meetings, even meetings in which no public comment was allowed. All the way, okay, so it's not mine, okay. To the final concepts design phase that he was just talking about with the illustrations. I sat there, couldn't speak, But I heard the tables and the three groups talk, and any mention still of golf coming up, and they did bring it up, that yes, their neighborhood and people had expressed interest in this in different forms, an executive course or a practice facility still, driving range. Well, as soon as any time that happened, there was intervention, and it was totally, they were told that that's not necessary, that can be, handled at other courses, just like the junior golf can be handled at other courses, and everything else. What I observed is what must be the meaning of a steering committee, because the input phase was manipulated to not allow that four-letter word to be uttered. Instead, we were masterfully steered away from any mention of golf and instead told to think big. Even the social media input was tainted. 80% of the next door postings were pro-golf related. So was the first DAB meeting. It was packed. And when before we had been manipulated into what amenities we could talk about that didn't include golf that they wanted, that was what was listed on all the sheets. Then when the plan wasn't looking big enough, the committee was told to go home and Google bigger destination parks. We're wondering whoever asked for one in the first place. It's my neighborhood. I never heard anyone who wanted or thought one would be successful in this location. Now the property is listed as an opportunity zone. Opportunity for who, I ask? Two papers together. It was suggested that the city move Clap Park out of the golf enterprise system and into the park system like it would be anyway. All these expensive improvements like bridges will have to be made if it remains any type of park. It is possible to retain a 9-hole course with a revenue stream and still have the amenities that the neighborhoods wanted, like the walking and biking trails, disc and foot golf. The clubhouse already serves coffee. Well, that's about all right now. But it could be the foundation to build on for a venue to host many of the events the community suggested. There is ample parking for a farmer's market and food trucks. These can all coexist. I don't want to lose the most perfectly maintained green space for uncertainties in a 10-year plan which could implode. I also find it interesting that when ponds were suggested to solve the golf course irrigation costs, we were told that there would be, way too expensive. But yet now we have 3 new prospective ponds in the plans. Yet with many people thinking the course is already closed and the leagues being run off, it still survives and is in great shape.
You've gone well over your 5 minutes. Can you,
Oh, I have.
15 seconds,
Okay.
wrap it up.
Thank you very much. I just wanted you to please reconsider this option and let it be. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Thank you, Council. My name is Cindy Renard, 1110 Royal Road. What I plead with the Council to consider today is to hold off on transforming or closing LW Clap Park until an unbiased, comprehensive review from experts such as the National Golf Foundation can be done. We have been here before, in 2011, in 2014, last summer, and here now. Through the years, the conclusion has been that this land is at its greatest and best use as a golf course. How many times do we, the golfers, the neighbors, and the community have to fight and convince you, our leaders, that Clap Park means more to us and is more valuable as a golf course than it could ever be in any other form? During this engagement, staff has squelched any discussion of golf. Instead, the people were told to think big, ask for the moon, but don't ask to keep your historic, cherished little municipal. The decision to close Clap has come from a volunteer board who does not play our municipal courses, who rely mainly on a single city staff report containing questionable figures and estimates. A report that was seemingly more a means to justify closure, written by those who wished to see this happen. According to park staff, we have too many holes of golf, and this is unsustainable. This is not so. What is unsustainable is our current structure and administrative costs. The operation model is extremely top-heavy, with administrative salaries of $270,000 plus just on the 11th floor. We are paying $270,000, which has increased by $100,000 recently, to micromanage the pros and the assistant pros. What is the return on this? CLAP has only been in the red under this current administration. This course is not the cause of the woes of the golf division, but rather the victim. The root cause began with the financial burden of Auburn Hills. In 2011, CLAP became the target to cash out and help pay for this mistake. Until now, our leaders stood up and have not sold us out. This time is different. This time, the effort to build a case against the smallest municipal has been unrelenting. Over the past couple of years, expenses have been allowed to run wild at CLAP, with personnel costs increasing by over $100,000, safety concerns of narrowing the bridges ignored until thousands in carts damage, and disgruntled patrons, many, rang up, and overall, a lack of oversight at the course. Any and all chances to put this course in a negative light has been seized. All the while, CLAP has operated in the shadow of closure. With the talk of closures, leagues have gone to many other non-city courses with no effort on the management's behalf to retain them. This has all contributed to the decline of the rounds. And all of this has played into the hands of those who wish to see it close. This is not the answer. In fact, I would suggest closing CLAP could add to the decline of our system. The role it plays is the very foundation of a strong municipal system. It is the feeder course, the course players learn on, the practice course, the course that is walkable, the family-friendly course, the overflow course. You should have seen it this weekend. Yesterday, it was packed. Even with the decline in rounds, which isn't as great as what your information says, 45 to 60 players per day pay to play it. With first tee and junior golf programs exploding in numbers, we need this course to grow the game. The Southeast area has seen the Boston Rec Center diminish, Boston Pool close, Linwood Pool close, our Southeast High School taken from our neighborhood. Please do not transform our little gym, a golf course that has stood the test of time. Please leave it be as the beautiful, quiet, and tranquil, self-policing, revenue-generating park it is today. Please listen to the people and let it be. At the very least, bring in the National Golf Federation to give us all an unbiased, professional evaluation of our golf system. Our municipals are too valuable to allow the current demise. Let's see what the alternative options are before a drastic, final, irreversible, expensive move is made. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mayor, Council, Manager, Dale Goter, 2625 West Cornelison. In the name of due diligence, I spent yesterday morning at Clap Park playing golf. It is in remarkable shape. The parking lot was nearly full. There were probably 30 to 40 cars. The person behind the counter told me was telling a person on the phone that the tee times were consumed throughout that morning. Made me wonder, is this really such a bad resource that perhaps marketed better, operated better, that kind of traffic couldn't be sustained? And are we jumping too quickly to get rid of a resource? We, in response to the MAC closure, formed a committee of what we call social golfers, people who play in multiple organizations, leagues and tournaments. And we concluded that there are structural problems with how the golf division is run today. I think everybody we talk to agrees. The only people who don't agree are the people running the golf division. Now, it's a problem, and we weren't very well received with our message, but we thought it was important to put that on the table. So what I'd like to do on behalf of that group of folks who we meet with and have talked about this at great length is to reinforce the message you just heard from Cindy and Candia that would be a great idea to bring in the National Golf Foundation to do an assessment of our current structural, the way we do business, and make some recommendations. If you do that, we're all on board with that. We just know that there's a better way to evaluate what we're doing. I raised this question to the administration, and the response was, we already have the best people possible running this operation, so there is no room for improvement in how we do business. That's not what golfers believe right now. Our group represents a pretty broad spectrum of public golfers, and we think there's clearly an opportunity to do something different. The golf system currently is run as an enterprise fund, which the connotation is that it's a business, and you run it like a business. You're not running it like a business. It's not close to being run like a business. If it was, you'd have more expert help doing it, and might meet that expectation. So you need what we would like for you to consider is an ongoing public subsidy of public golf so that we maintain that economic quality of life element in our community. We think 5 golf courses at this point is the right number, but if somebody like the National Golf Foundation came in, did this professional assessment, said, do something different, we're all for that. That's missing right now. So I guess the bottom line is, we hope you'll take that under consideration before you dispose of an asset like Clapp Park. It is a beautiful facility right now. And to take the drastic measure to get rid of one of these courses, like you went down that path with Mac, and that wasn't a very good idea, we'd just like to see you reconsider that. There's an election coming up. And part of our mission, I guess, is to help golfers understand what candidates think about this issue, which candidates understand public golf, which candidates have a sense about how this might be run different, and that there is some dissatisfaction with how it's done now. We hope that you'd consider that, and we appreciate any effort you direct in that fashion. Thank you.
Next speaker, please. If there's no other speakers, we'll bring discussion back to the bench. Councilmember Clendenin.
Thank you, Mayor. I knew that this agenda item for several years was going to be on the agenda, and this is probably one of the most difficult things that I've had to tackle in my time on the council. Knowing that last year, the Park Board and the Golf Advisory Committee, with dissent of some, and the City Council, have voted and have made their wishes known to close the golf course. It was my opportunity at that point, not wanting the course to close, to make lemonade out of lemons. And it was very clear by many in the community that they wanted golf at the golf course. But there were those that were talking about the possibility of it being something else. And the whole community, not just people who play golf, to be a part of that piece of parkland. So when I put my committee together, I put a committee of people that, Mr. Manager, you might say were very opinionated people. I put people on that committee that were not yes men. They were not people that even agree with me all the time. I put people that would be very unbiased about this piece of property, and there was a tremendous amount of talk about golf. So as we go through the lemonade making process on this, just to answer some of the comments directly, absolutely, this conversation was steered toward what else can Clapp Golf Course be, because we already know it's a golf course. We already know that golf has worked out there. It's not doing the best right now. And absolutely, we tried to get the community to think differently about what it could be, knowing that the Golf Advisory Committee, the Park Board, and the City Council were showing desire to close the golf course. Now, I could sit back and I could say, we're just gonna let bygones be bygones. I could sit here and dig my heels in and vote no and watch that piece of property sit and be nothing but a mowed piece of ground every 21 days. So I feel like the representation that the Golf Advisory Committee were not being honest and forthright, and I think that's not a fair statement whatsoever. I will tell you that as we got into the community and we talked about what this piece of property could be, people started getting excited. I started getting emails from all sorts of people I've never met before, sending ideas, being excited that the whole community, the 6 neighborhood associations that surround that community, were actually going to have access to amenities. And so that was exciting to hear that during this lemonade making process, people were starting to see the possibilities, which could include, believe it or not, some sort of golf. It's not going to be, I think, to the point that golfers want to see, but in light of safety issues and the amount of space golf would take up as a 9-hole course, we steered away from that conversation. So absolutely. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of background. You guys have seen the report. You can see where my heart is on this. Do I want to close Clapp Golf Course? I absolutely don't want to close Clapp Golf Course. But if it's going to be the will of all the governing bodies over this situation, because I do realize we have a fiduciary responsibility as well, whether the golf course is being maintained properly now, what's happened in the past has gotten us to here and has gotten us to now. And so this has been extremely difficult, and I just wanted to let you guys know how the process went and the feelings behind it.
Councilmember Clendon, the Golf Course Advisory Committee, I know one of the speakers said he represents the golfing community, but the Golf Advisory Committee, I know most of them on there, they're made up of golfers. What was their vote as it pertains to Clapp Golf Course? Do we remember?
Mayor, some time ago, it was probably over a year ago, that they've had a meeting and the vote was 3-2 to close it, because I think it was understood in regards to the financial situations of the enterprise system, and that just seemed to make a logical decision for them. So the vote was 3-2 at that point in time.
Councilmember Fry.
Thank you. Councilmember Clendon, I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts and feelings on this. I know it's a difficult decision to get here. As you know, I served on the park board back in 2011 when we first approached the idea of our golf system and how it was struggling and the things that we needed to do. And it hasn't improved. It did a short time, but over the course of the several years since, it's continued to be a challenge. And so I know this is a tough decision and a tough place to get to, but I'm encouraged by the opportunity. I went to several of your Transformation Committee meetings and listened to the ideas and the suggestions that the group that you assembled put out there. And I thought the neighborhood and those representatives were very excited about the opportunity and to get a destination facility that more people could use and in a much different way than what they've been able to. So I just want to share that with you.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I too wanted to thank you, Councilmember Clendenin, for leading through this difficult time, and I'm hopeful that through the disappointment that some feel about closing the course, we can find a way to make that a destination through the concepts or other ideas for the surrounding community that may not have ever played golf there, and make that a real destination in Southeast Wichita. One of the speakers talked about some of the losses here recently with the school and other things. This is a possible huge opportunity to open that up and make it a space where people can come together and unite and have a good time as well. And some of the investments we're about to make in Plainview Park is another way just to bring some excitement into the area. Again, I just wanted to thank you for leading through that. It's difficult, but it's an opportunity to make that a destination park.
And I too will certainly appreciate Councilmember Clendenin and what the citizens have been working on. I do want to clear up some misconceptions that were thrown out there today. It was never on our agenda to close McDonald Golf Course. It was really never on our agenda to sell McDonald Golf Course. We were just simply responding to a local businessman that said, hey, I'd like to buy it. And so we went through, obviously, what we needed to do is listen to his offer. We felt the offer wasn't anywhere close to where it needed to be, but we never said we were going to close McDonald. And so to tell the public that you rallied to say McDonald is not true. McDonald was never on the chopping block. And certainly don't want that misperception out there. I've always said that I would love to see a golfing element continue at Clapp of some sort. I don't know what that can look like yet. I know that there were some ideas thrown out there of potentially saving some holes or driving range or something through the planning process. Today's motion doesn't eliminate that as far as I can see. Today's motion simply puts us on the path of master planning, which could potentially still have a golfing element out there of some sort. And so I would encourage us to continue to look at that, Councilmember Clinton, and I don't know if you're ready to make a motion, but I know there's been a lot of work, a lot of discussion, and you're right, the neighbors have enjoyed looking at the opportunity to use that land for the neighborhood and beyond, and certainly it could be something special, but I'll still add that I would love to see a golfing element added if it's possible as we go through the master planning, and would encourage that. And I understand that the community has driven this, and so I will vote accordingly to what I think has been a committee that's represented that community very well.
Well, Mayor, I don't want to make a motion. But in the interest of making sure that we preserve this as a green space for the community, I will move to recommend that a CIP budget be developed for a master plan, which could include golf of some sort, utilizing 3 establishment development scenarios to transform LW Clapp Park and close Clapp Golf Course on August 2nd.
Second, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Restructuring the golf pass.
Good morning, Mayor and council members. I'm Troy Hendricks, the golf manager for the City of Wichita Park and Recreation Department. Rounds have been declining since 1997. Revenues have not kept pace with the rising costs of operation. In recent years, the golf fund has been subsidized by the general fund, Both the Board of Park Commissioners and the Golf Advisory Committee are recommending this change to our current pass structure. The Golf Advisory Committee has been looking at ways to make the golf system more sustainable, which includes making the pass system less confusing to our customers. Restructuring of the golf pass system will help to achieve this goal by providing a steady monthly revenue stream, along with more simplified pass programs, not only to our customers, but also for our staff to be able to explain to them. The rounds have been declining since 1997 to the low of 138,443 in 2018. This table specifically looks at the last 9 years of rounds, which have been declining since 2010 by 14%. While developing the golf sustainability study in 2018, the golf division was averaging a 1% decline in rounds annually. This plan recommends consolidating 10 of the current 12 passes into 5. The high school student pass, which is used by student athletes that has utilized our courses, and the range pass will remain the same. There'll be no change to either one of those passes. This plan will no longer require a surcharge, co-pay, reduced greens fee of any type to those that are playing. The new pass plan will also eliminate and restrictions to the pass holders at the time that they can play. This will allow our senior golfers to play at any time during the day, 7 days a week. This pass plan is modeled after membership plans such as the YMCA and other health clubs within the area. The proposed plan is based off of our 2018 sales. As previously mentioned, the high school and student pass and the range pass will not change. In 2018, we sold 1,243 total passes. 191 of those were high school passes. 48 of those were driving range passes. That left us with 1,004 regular passes that were sold. And those passes have been consolidated into the numbers which is for the line that says passes sold on this presentation. The student or junior pass, which would be for 17 years and under, would be $10 a month. The senior pass for 62 and over would be $55 per month. The young adult pass, which is would be for ages 18 to 33, would be $65 per month. This pass also has an age change from 18 to 23 to the 18 to 33. The hope is that these customers will continue to support the City of Wichita Public Golf Courses once they become established in the workforce within the community. The adult pass would be for 34 years and older, and it would be $100 a month. And the couples pass would be $110 per month, and this must be for 2 adults residing in the same address. We're showing the annual out-of-pocket expense on here only for reference to make sense for when we talk about the break-even points of our passes. The break-even point of the new pass, as I said, would eliminates the discounted greens fee that the pass holders currently pay when they come to play. The break-even point for the 5 passes is determined by taking the annual cost of the pass and dividing it by the lowest 18-hole greens fee, which is $25. And for the 7-day student or junior pass, that would be a $10 greens fee. So as you can see, the break-even points are 12 for the student pass, 26 rounds a year for the senior pass. And for the young adult pass, they'd have to play 31 times in a year. Adult pass would be 48, and the couples pass would be 53. The expected outcomes, the Board of Park Commissioners, the Golf Advisory Committee believe that by eliminating the reduced greens fees and the restrictions to the senior pass, this will stimulate more rounds of golf. These increases in rounds will also increase, we hope, cart rentals, range ball usage, and concession sales, as these are the highest margins of profit that we have within our golf system. Financial considerations that we are looking for is with the membership, which is essentially a membership. This would have a 2% annual increase starting in 2020, so that we don't have to come back to you guys in 2020 and say, hey, we want to increase these fees. We would have this built into this plan to begin with. With the proposed no pay for the membership players, in 2018, we implemented a $2 increase in our greens fees, which they were now paying a $1 fee, which goes towards our equipment replacement fund. So we're also recommending a $37 equipment replacement fund billing to all annual pass holders, with the exception of student passes, and this would start in November of 2019. The proposed plan would be less expensive when compared to other area golf courses. It is recommended that the City Council approve the revised Golf Pass Plan as recommended by the Board of Park Commissioners and the Golf Advisory Committee. We're recommending that we implement this pass starting August 1st of 2019. I now stand for any questions.
Questions at this point? I think this was pretty well explained again at a workshop recently, so. No questions. Oh, Councilmember Fry.
Troy?
He was just slow.
Yes, sir. Just a quick clarification.
Okay.
You said November 2019 will be the $37 equipment replacement charge. The slide said 2020. So I just want to be sure.
It would be 2019, yes.
2019, okay, thank you.
All right, we'll go out to the public. Anyone like to address the council on this agenda item? Seeing none, we'll bring discussion back to the bench. Again, I think this was well thought out. Appreciate all of the research that was done, and I would move that we, City Council approve the revised golf plan. Plan. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Repair or removal of dangerous and unsafe structure.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. I'm Kaylin Nethercott with Neighborhood Inspection at MABCD. We come before you today to talk about the property at 356 North Indiana. It's a 1.5 story frame dwelling, approximately 59 by 31 feet in size. It's been vacant for an unknown length of time. It has a shifting and cracking block foundation with missing blocks, siding, sagging and badly worn composition roof, deteriorated porches, deteriorated wood trim, and badly failing framing members. The 35 by 20 accessory structure is also extremely dilapidated. On January 7th, 2019, the Board of Building Code Standards and Appeals considered this property at 356 North Indiana Avenue, and at that time granted a 90-day extension for the property to be brought into code compliance and the property taxes to be paid in full. Neighborhood Inspection has had various cases on this property over the years. Since August 31st, 2017, a violation notice has been issued and the violations remain open. Uniform criminal complaint has been issued and it's been the subject of neighborhood court. Since 2003, there have been 38 active cases, including 7 emergency board-up cases, 8 nuisance cases, and 7 housing cases. There have also been tall grass and weeds, zoning, and graffiti cases at this address. The house was placarded in August of 2017, October of 2017, and May 2019. In the past 5 years, there have been 2 reported police incidents at the location, and MABCD assistance has been requested by the police 3 different occasions. The 2015, 16, 17, and 18 taxes are delinquent in the amount of $5,186. This includes special assessment costs, abatement costs, and interest. I would just share with you that our in-house board-up crew did secure this facility again last Friday. As of noon yesterday, when I checked it, it was, at that time, still secured. The property does need to be mowed, and there is bulky waste in the backyard. I did receive a call yesterday from a neighboring businessman, excuse me, who was inquiring about the procedures today. I don't know if he did choose to attend, but I believe there may be an owner that would like to speak about the property.
Okay. Any other questions? Councilmember Johnson, how do you want to proceed?
If there is a property owner or someone here present, I'd like to hear from them. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, council members. I'm the owner, and I've been without funds, and I come into some money, and I asked the people if I should get out a permit and start working on it. And they said you ought to just wait until you go to the council members. was you wouldn't want to waste your money. So the reason it's not done right now is because I was advised not to do anything to it for the last 60 days. And I'm willing and capable of fixing the house up. My wife's been in a nursing home. I've had a heart surgery, and I'm willing and able to do things now. I'm 75, but I can still do manual labor. And I got people that I can use to get the thing within specifications. The foundation's taken care of. I just didn't repair the siding yet. So I begged to have this thing set aside for at least 60, 90 days, and I'll have it finished up. Thank you.
So I have a couple questions for you. Did you own the property in 2015?
What's that?
Did you own the property in 2015?
Yeah, I've been in the hospital for the last few years, and I've owned it since for 50 years.
Okay. So between
and it was also my business location.
Okay. So between the property tax and special assessments, you owe $7,280.72. Would you be able to come up with that pretty soon to take care of it?
I know I can keep it out of bankruptcy, foreclosure, but I can probably pay a couple years on it.
In a couple years?
No, I can pay a couple years so it'll be out of danger of being foreclosed on. And I can also do the work.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I have.
What's that?
That's all the questions I have.
Thank you.
Any other questions of the owner? Thank you. So, Councilmember Johnson, obviously you've heard from the owner that he wants to invest in it. He now has the resources to invest in it. How do you want to proceed? Councilmember Johnson?
Yeah, I'm still.
You have another person, I think, that would like to address the property if you want to have them come up.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from them.
My name's Dave Kratz. I own 350 North Indiana. We're 2 doors down. We bought it in 2002. This house was lived in until probably 2012, 2013. Since then, it's been a home for vagrants. You know they're vagrants because they ask you for money all the time. It's in poor shape. Since it's been vacant, we've had a lot of vandalism, cutting fences, stealing, break-ins. It's a magnet for that. It's in very, very poor shape, so I don't know how he can bring it up. Okay?
And it does infringe on the property rights of those around it, I get that.
Yeah, it's just, someone's always living in it that is homeless. It's not changing.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Well, we have one more speaker, I think.
Mayor, Council, my name's Eric Leschuk. I own 354 North Indiana, next to Dave's building and next door to this house. I'm a new property owner in the area. I bought it about 7 months ago. Invested a lot of money in the building to make it better for the area. But and I'm the last guy that wants the little guy to get, everything to work against him. But I also rehab houses. I also own 125 properties in this community and buildings. I've been through this process. The money this is going to take, I quite frankly don't know that it would be even worth doing it as from a financial standpoint. from an emotional standpoint, it might be. But I could see this thing needing, and I do these expensive flips all the time, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 worth of money to make it right. Obviously, there'd be less if he could do the work himself, but we have had some of the same problems with people around the area living there. Sometimes I see electricity somehow in there, piped in from somewhere. It's got broken windows and stuff like that. So it's we've had to increase the fence. We've had some issues across the fence, so we've had to add fencing and cameras and lighting, or we've chose to do that. So that's really all I got to say about it.
All right, thank you for sharing. I don't think we have anyone else to speak on this property, so Councilmember Johnson, we'll turn back over to you.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Again, decisions like these are always tough, and hearing everything today, it's not fair to the property owners in the area to keep this structure up. So I would move that we close the public hearing, adopt the resolution declaring the building to be a dangerous and unsafe structure, and accept the Board of Building Code Standards and Appeals recommendation to proceed with condemnation, allowing 10 days to start demolition and 10 days to complete removal of the structure.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk, next item.
Approval of travel from Mayor Jeff Longwell, council members Brian Fry, Becky Tuttle, and Brandon Johnson to compete for the All-American City Award in Denver, Colorado, June 20th to 24, 2019.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the two-way travel.
Only if we come back with All-American Cities.
Yeah, absolutely. If not, stay out there.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk, next item.
Councilmember appointments and comments.
Any appointments today? Comments? Councilmember Fry?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, yesterday began the 30th anniversary of the Wichita Open, with the first golf tournament as the rest of the festivities go through this week. I want to congratulate Roy Turner and his staff for putting together a true treasure for our community. It's become quite the destination and the destination event, and I know the community is very excited about it, and I just want to congratulate them. And in keeping with congratulation, my parents will celebrate their 54th wedding anniversary tomorrow. So shout out to them.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Councilmember Tuttle?
I know we just approved the travel, but just wanted to mention again the All-American City application. We're going to go next week. We've been working on it since October. I know many staff have been involved, and you're always leery to thank one person, but Assistant City Manager Dante Martin has done a fantastic job of shepherding us through this entire process and distilling down so much amazing work that the city and the community does collaboratively into a 10-minute presentation. And we had a practice last Friday, and I teared up during it because it was really a strong presentation, and to have youth involved in it, not just city staff and community leaders. So wish us luck and hope we'll come home with an award.
Awesome. And it's been 10 years since we've been deemed an All-American City. So, Councilmember Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to highlight the Juneteenth celebration has started here in Wichita. If you swing by McAdams Park, the basketball court looks a lot different now. There's a mural on it. It's pretty awesome. You can see it from 17th Street with all the bright colors. Tomorrow's a program at Wichita State University CAC Theater with the keynote speaker, Dr. Waters. And of course, this weekend is the Juneteenth parade from Wichita State down to McAdams on Saturday. So it'll be a great time here in Wichita. I just wanted to shout it out.
Very good. If there's no other business, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Cast your vote. And unanimously, we are adjourned.